Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and today is day 108 of Coffee and MTG, your morning talk show, where we discuss magic and have a great time. You brew up your cup of coffee and brew up the magic because, oh, you better believe we're going to be having a great magic discussion today. And you better get a nice hot cup of coffee. I don't know where you are in this world, but I live on one of the coldest places of the planet, and it's starting to freeze outside. So I need my coffee nice and warm if I'm going to survive it. So brew up a nice hot cup, whatever you like to drink in the morning, afternoon, or evening. Make it nice and warm, and let's have a great warm discussion today. The wind is blowing. The cold rain is coming in. It's brutal. It's brutal. So as we wait for people to show up, don't forget, if you want to be part of the conversation, if you want to show up for Coffee and MTG, check us out at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. And we do this Mondays to Fridays at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Happy Thursday. Yeah, today is Happy Thursday. And the Thursdays, by the way, I'll mention this at the end of today's Coffee and MTG. They're going to be a bit shorter. I have a test that within like 45 minutes. So we're going to have like slightly shorter Coffee and MTGs. Fortunately, it's still not conflicting with the actual show, so I don't have to change the time of it, but we'll probably usually we do Decklist, we talk magic and then we do Decklist review. We probably have to scrap the Decklist review on Thursday. So it's just going to be maybe I need a like an intro music thing. I do have the ability to have like intro videos on this client, but I never decided to make one. It's a magical morning with Nikachu and the Fish Fam. Whatever. Maybe I can start the conversation off a little bit about what happened in my game yesterday, published yesterday anyhow, against Slivers, where, spoiler alert, I could have won the match if the cards did what they were supposed to do on Magic the Gathering Online. Instead, they didn't. Particularly, Merfolk Trickster got bugged. It is bugged. It has been bugged actually for quite a few months. That might be the only upsetting point about this card. It also, I think it cost me something in like a Modern Showcase in the very last round against another Merfolk opponent. But the point was that Merfolk Trickster is not removing the ability from Lords, or at least it's not. It's Merfolk Trickster when you target a creature. If it's a Lord that gives an ability to all other creatures on the battlefield, it won't remove them. So the particular creature might get all their abilities removed, but every other creature that used to get buffed or got some ability from that particular creature will still have it. So if that creature was giving all other creatures +1/+1, even though I remove that one particular creature's all abilities away and get it tapped, all the other creatures still get +1/+1 when it's supposed to be removed. If all other creatures get first strike, they still have first strike. If all other creatures have infect, they also have infect. But the point is, I just want to address this thing because a lot of people were outraged by this bug. And my perspective on bugs online, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose from the bugs, but sometimes you win from the bugs. I've won tons of matches from bugs. So the way I look at it is ideally the cards are not bugged, but if they are, then that's just how it is. I don't have any expectation that my opponent should resign to me. And once the bug is discovered in the match, then it is up to them. They are free to abuse it as much as they want. They can strategically play as if that bug is a part of the actual rules. Now, the rules state that you are not allowed to actually abuse the bugs, so I don't believe that you should be allowed to enter a tournament knowing a card is bugged, and then you're going to take advantage of it throughout the entire tournament. But if the bug comes up during a match, and it was unintentional, I do believe that you are free. In my perspective, you are free to play as if that is the actual rules of the game. For example, I most definitely had no problem killing off millions of Tarmogoyfs because in the past, when I believe it was Trickster that just came out. Whenever we targeted a Tarmogoyf with Trickster, it just died. Instead of becoming a 0/1 creature, it just disappeared off the battlefield like Scourge of the Skyclaves. So, I mean, that was most certainly to my benefit, and I'm sure all the Jund players hated it. But then again, sometimes you win from the bug, sometimes you lose from the bug. So in this case, I lost from the bug, but I completely understand that bugs come in our favor, bugs don't come in our favor here and there, and that's just basically the rules of the game for Magic the Gathering Online, and you have to take it in stride. And you know, ideally, I wish I won the match, but I didn't, and hopefully they fix the one thing that I can get upset about. I'm not going to get upset about the bug in the first place, but Trickster has been bugged for months now. Maybe I don't even know how long. Maybe since Oko came out, it's been bugged. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. So that would be something I can complain about. Wizards should fix this card because I'm now playing with. I mean, Trickster for the most part still works. It's just not working all the time. But anyway, that's my perspective on bugs. I hope I take like a little bit more of a humble approach towards it. I'm not going to get upset or quit the game because my card was bugged or whatever. Sometimes you win from the bugs, sometimes you don't. Title Warrior has been bugged for over a fucking year. Yes, it has. That is a bit problematic because if you really wanted to play Title Warrior in Legacy, then you just can't because it's like a wasteland. So that's a situation where I don't think you aren't allowed to play the card because if you play Title Warrior and you know it's bugged going into a tournament, it's against the rules, and it's like a superpower. Basically, it's like, how can I put it? It's like you have Karn the Great Creator in play. What Title Warrior does, it's supposed to turn any land into any sort of land type that you want. Is it any land or no? It's just an island. It turns any land into an island in play. But what it's doing is it's removing all the abilities from the lands to the point that you can't even add mana with it. Yeah, it's basically a Rishadan Port. Except if you in theory could untap the Rishadan Port, it still doesn't add mana. All right, so welcome everyone. Good morning. How many merfolk are bugged? Yeah, I know. So we got Trickster, Title Warrior. Good morning, Siege Sensei, Balada. Thank you, by the way, thank you very much for the 10 bits, Balada. Dang, I'm slow. You're not that slow. Don't worry, Papa Burgundy. You're here just in time. The Corgo 10. I know what that means now. It's this Corgi emote. But you can only see it on Twitch. Best part of the day. Oh, you're welcome. This bug with the new Walking Dead card sounds like a new episode of Nikachu News. Okay. Well, I mean, the bug, maybe not the bug part. It sounds like Walking Dead is Nikachu newsworthy. Most of the time, Tarmogoyf dies either way if it attacked. And you have enough creatures to block. Because if you just have one creature to block, they'll kill the creature that blocked. Reminder of that stupid Turbo Lockout bug deck that was on Magic the Gathering Online for a day. Oh, you mean that it was the one card win condition, right? Yeah, that was a stupid deck. Now those people all deserve to get banned. And hopefully their accounts got like locked and they lost all the assets in their accounts. But yeah, there was that time that there was this one niche commander card got discovered that it locks the opponent out. They can't make any decisions, and then they just time out. That was hilarious. Good morning, 5x5. Good morning, Reality. Good morning, Contra. Your second son was born yesterday morning. Good morning. Congratulations, Papa Burgundy. Congratulations. So yeah, bugs happen. It just happens. So that's my stance. If you incidentally encounter a bug within a match, from there, I think you can take advantage of it however you want. But if you outside of that, you cannot take advantage of bugs. And I think it should be done this way because I don't think you should expect I can't tell my opponent, hey, this is the rule how it's supposed to be. Can you resign? Like, first off, my opponent may not know what the real rule is, and you just look like scum trying to ask, hey, this is how it's actually supposed to work in paper. You should resign to me. You know, like, I think that's a bit stupid. We should just play the game as the client allows it, and whatever happens, happens. And again, sometimes you lose from the bugs, but sometimes you win from the bugs. I can't remember. I think when Omnath came out, I was up against Aspiring Spike. I get paired up against him. This was off camera, off stream, and his Omnath deck wasn't working. I can't remember. There was 2 cards that were trying to interact, and they wouldn't stack, and he couldn't take any game actions, so he just conceded to me. And I guess he said he said he would concede to. I was going to concede to him because I had nothing. I couldn't interact with his mind-blowing value combo, and I was going to get crushed. But he ended up conceding to me because he said he doesn't want to play an entire league with this deck that's bugged and cannot work. So sometimes the bugs favor you, sometimes the bugs don't. You don't see all the wins I have because my opponent's deck is bugged. Nikachu, you've mentioned Noble Hierarch is common. How do you think Paradise Bird compared? You mean Birds of Paradise? What do you mean? What do you mean in common? Well, if you want me to compare the 2 cards, so you got Birds of Paradise. 1 mana bird adds mana of any color, flying. It's okay, not too bad. But Noble Hierarch, I can never remember how to spell Hierarch. It's I-E. I always put E-I. Noble Hierarch, very similar. However, gives you the Exalted. So whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. That is worth so much. It is that, and that is why Noble Hierarch is worth way more than Birds of Paradise. Double Masters, $14 here. Ultimate Masters, $14. Also been reprinted a million times. Birds of Paradise. Actually, Birds of Paradise might be only $7, right? Yeah, very similar. $7. But the reason this thing's worth double is because of the Exalted. And you know what? To some extent, if you're playing a creature-based deck, you're probably trying to win the game with damage. And if you're trying to win the game with damage, Exalted actually matters a significant amount. The only reason you would want to go to Birds of Paradise is if you desperately needed the black or red mana. You desperately needed it so badly. But generally speaking, even decks that play black or red will still play Noble Hierarch. That's why this card sees all the play. And Birds of Paradise does not see nearly as much play. Sword on Bird makes good evasive creature. There's probably other creatures you can put that thing on. Yeah, Sword and Bird. There's those niche advantages, but most of the time, putting a sword on just any one of your creatures is also going to be pretty good. Especially if it has Exalted. So the point is, Noble Hierarch gets in for like way more beats. It's not even comparable. I mean, that's why if you look at any modern deck playing a Mana Dork, it's usually Noble Hierarch. Usually, the exception being Arbor Elf, because Arbor Elf can. The only exception is Arbor Elf, because Arbor Elf can untap a forest, and that has synergy with Utopia Sprawl, which has been a combo in the red-green Ponza deck and some other ramp decks, some green Devotion decks. The old tech from Ponza was Keswick Wolfrun on the bird. Yes, very old. We're at a point where they don't even play Birds of Paradise anymore. I mean, they just play the Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl. The payoff with Noble Hierarch by itself can attack for 1 damage, but everything else can't. So what if Lord of Atlantis suddenly gives +10/+10 because of a bug? Would you stop playing it until it's fixed? The ethical thing... Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I would email Wizards every day. I would email every Wizards of the Coast staff every day, and I would probably at them on Twitter, every single account that I could, every single day until it got fixed. I'd probably get blocked by some of those sources, but like, hey, you're the core of my deck. One of the core cards of my deck is unplayable because it's bugged. Or maybe I don't know what I would do. Maybe I would cash out. I would cash out everything on Magic the Gathering Online so that if I get my account banned, that there's nothing, I don't lose anything, and I just try to crush everyone. Honestly, I'll tell you what would happen in this situation. Other people would abuse it, and Wizards of the Coast would it would be like an emergency fix. If there was a lord that gave if you go like turn one Curse Catcher, turn 2, give it +10/+10. Oops. all of a sudden Merfolk is a turn 3 combo deck. So honestly, I probably wouldn't have to do anything because there would be enough bad actors out there. Because if the bug is big enough, people do take advantage of it. Like we saw with the one card combo, where it's just like one card you cast it and your opponent like loses the game on the spot. I want someone to explain to me why Tron always has Tron. It is called selective memory. You remember the times they always have Tron, and you do not remember the times that they don't, because the times that you don't is not emotionally significant enough for you. But the times that they have turn 3 Tron all the time, it burns in your mind. It gets you angry, and helps you remember it. That is why they don't always have Tron. They have Tron way more often than they used to. I'll give you that. So that selective memory gets more refined. 90% of Tron. The Tron deck is a way to get Tron. That's true too. Like it is built to get Tron consistently. Sounds fair. Dies to push. No big deal. Oh yeah, to play a +10/+10. Yeah, Lord, Lord of Colossal Hammer. Or Colossus Hammer. Sorry. The Lord of Colossus Hammer. If only my Lord of Atlantis gave this. That sounds like some sort of Office Space screw up. Oh, I must have put a decimal. I must have screwed up a decimal place somewhere. And imagine all the Lords online were like this. They were all like this. Bother Sean with the 4 months in a row. Thank you very much, Bother Sean. Really appreciate it. Stream coach. You want to know everything about Twitch, go follow Baller Sean. Also getting really hot on what's it called? TikTok. Getting on that TikTok before the US does something about it. Thoughts on 5-color elementals now that they have a new Omnath? I can't really speak to how good that Omnath card is in the elementals deck, but I still think 5-color elementals is still an archetype and still a reasonably good archetype in modern. But I have no idea if the new Omnath actually fits in the deck very well, because it's a 4-mana card. It is clunky, you know. It is what it is. Sometimes there are great cards that come out in the creature type, or it looks like it's for the deck, but it's just too expensive. Although I have to admit, things like Omnath look ridiculous in any archetype, and it sees play in control. New Omnath is so great. Satsumane, are you on the Elementals train? Yeah, 250,000 views on that video. Crazy. Congratulations, Bothershawn. TikTok is a hell of a drug. So yeah, Omnath. Let's get Omnath on the screen here. I wonder if Omnath has any chance. First off, I still don't know if this is even a good card in the control decks, and I have to admit that control is losing the control name with more of this garbage getting added to the archetype. ETB, draw a card, landfall, gain 4 life. A second landfall, gain 4 mana. That's dumb. If it's the 3rd time, Omnath deals 4 damage to each opponent, and each planeswalker you don't control. You know, I never really fully internalized how busted that last one is. You can wipe a fucking board of planeswalkers with this. 4 damage to each planeswalker you don't control. Goodbye Teferi. Goodbye Jace. Goodbye Hero of Dominaria. Goodbye Ashiok. Goodbye Narset. Goodbye. And good morning to Rugged MTG. I bought into it when Astrolabe was still around. I'm assuming you're talking about 5-color elementals. All right. So if the new the new Omnom, I guess we have one pro Omnath player here. Did anyone hear that? I feel like I heard like a computer tone or something like there. Something happened. I'm really getting into the Hitman series right now. Not sure what that's in reference to, but congratulations. That is great. Blood Moon makes the deck interesting to build and play. Interesting. Blood Moon in 5-color elementals. Have you talked about the Walking Dead secret lair yet? We talked about it a few days ago. I mean, we can talk about it a little bit more now. I mean, my take is, well, I certainly hope that they don't ever put this garbage in Modern. You know what? If they keep it in Legacy and Vintage and Commander, I'm sort of fine with that. I don't really play those formats, especially Vintage. But like, I don't want to play against these random weird characters from TV shows or movies and stuff like that. Like I gave the example last time. I don't want to play against Jean-Luc Picard. I don't want to play against Garfield and Friends. I think that's just dumb. It just breaks the medieval feel of what Magic the Gathering is. Magic the Gathering has its own very distinct universe. And I know these are Magic cards in another universe. I don't actually believe that they actually, you know, coincide with each other, but still, I don't want to. It looks, when I look at these cards, and I know that I don't know if they're art from scratch or if they were, like, I don't know, traced or something like that. But the point is that it feels too much like it's a picture from the show on there, and I don't know. I think I don't like it. I will just say I don't like it, and I also don't like the concept that they are basically adding to the reserved list, because these are very specialty cards. These new Walking Dead cards, they're going to be released for a week, and then after that they're gone. So they're basically pseudo reserve list cards. New Omnath is great. Nikachu has the best take. Stuff is kind of lame. It's super lame. Like, let's say they made Modern playable, I don't know, Borg cards, and modern playable. I'm trying to take some. I can't think of something random from pop culture. I don't know, something from my childhood. Reboot. Even if they made reboot cards, like I would still play a tournament with these cards if they were competitive and whatever. I'll play against them if it. But it's just going to be lame. It's going to be stupid. And there can be a point where if there's enough density of these stupid crossover cards that it's just like a random mixed series of all sorts of different shows and TVs and movies and, well, whatever. I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb. It's just gonna give me the feeling that this is ridiculous. If this game isn't ridiculous enough as it is. Isn't Omnath a free spell that gain you 4 life and draw a card? Well, it's a free spell if you can do anything with the 4 mana when you get the second land drop. If anything, the 4 mana should be the hardest thing to get, not the 4 damage. It's not like it kills creatures or anything. Just it just hits opponents and planeswalkers. So it could have been effectively a real Siege Rhino, because playing a land and fetching with it is not too hard. But getting that extra 4 mana should have been a lot harder to get to than the 4 damage. I think, I don't know. Maybe when you play test this card, it's basically like a huge bomb. You're like doming your opponent for 4 every single turn and closing the game out really quickly. Wait, will Omnath be playable in Elementals? Well, that's the word on the street. New Omnath works well with Risen Reef as well. So as everyone's here, I'll just quickly thank my sponsors, starting with themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering, and the Manabase is also sponsored by Fusion Gaming Online. And the deal of the week this week is 15% off all mystery booster singles and booster packs. So you can go get yourself a Mana Crypt. And I don't actually know. Oh, I think you can get Minamo. Minamo is from the mystery booster packs. So for your legendary commander creatures. And remember, Fusion Gaming Online, my favorite local game store, is a Canadian store, so these are all in Canadian prices. So don't freak out when you see, oh, this looks like it's $1 million. No, it's because the Canadian dollar sucks compared to the American dollar. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. And you can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can get 15% off using my coupon code Nikachu for 15% off the first 3 months. So we're going to thank Mana Traders for being our sponsor. Any love for Invisible Stalker? What do you mean about this card? I mean, I mean, I think the card is good, but I don't know where this came from. Human Rogue. I think I want to say like this is a better card. This is a card that Bogles wants, but like, truth be told, like a million Bogles players have played the archetype and they have not actually won with this card. I want to say Bogles should be a Bant deck. It should be Bant. They shouldn't play with Core Spirit Dancer because Core Spirit Dancer dies to removal, and it should play Invisible Stalker. That gives you 12 hexproof creatures that you can mulligan for, and like that's my take. But it doesn't work like that. All the Bogles decks that win are Selesnya, or that's the only. I don't know. Do I have to make a Bant Bogles deck and like fix this deck, or is this not, or does it just naturally not work? And you also have access to Force Negation if you play Bant, so you can like Force Negate Chalice of the Void and other stupid cards like what is it? Engineered Explosives that can also crush you. My Little Mermaid Secret Lair Merfolk. Yeah, we. So we'll all criticize the Secret Lair crossovers until they make the Little Mermaid, and we get what was the Little Mermaid's like father, or maybe we even get Ursula. Maybe Ursula is something that we could play in our deck. No, but she's an octopus, so we won't be able to play her. Canadian dollars are so good. I love going to Canada to get discounted H&M. One person's tax is another person's discount. Yeah, exactly. The decision to make them blackboard just reeks of money. Well, of course. What do you think? Anything they do is to make money. It's all about money. But they most certainly could have made money without upsetting the community at the same time. I mean, there was a million ways they could have fixed this. And you know, I watched the professor's video on this, and he made such a good point about how Wizards has been in this dilemma before, where they made specialty cards at a convention where you could only get at the convention, and people hated this because the people who were die-hard collectors, they had no access to this card, and it was super limited and too limited. And they pissed off everybody. And they said, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. Okay, 20 years later, okay, we're going to go do this again. And I think that's just how Wizards of the Coast is for the most part. And I think I could explain it with the fact that it might be a really fragmented company, like the departments that everybody's in. So at one department with one group of people at one period of time would say, no, this is not a good idea. We're not doing it anymore. And then if enough time passes and people move out of that department and other people take over, they're like, hey, I have this great idea. Why don't we make super special limited edition cards? That's a great idea. Let's do this. And then they go ahead and do it. And then they don't realize that historically they already did this already, but no one currently in charge remembers, or no one in that particular department remembers. And anyway, and then they screw up. And that's why Wizards of the Coast keeps going back on everything that they do. It's not like Wizards of the Coast keeps going. I don't know if Wizards of the Coast as a company keeps going back on everything that they do. It's just that fresh people with a new can't come up with old ideas that didn't work, but no one's around to keep them in check. The most irritating part is how they've proven their promises are worthless, and yet they won't end the reserve list. I agree with the professor in the sense that they could make changes before it gets printed and make them silver border or something like that. Or they could just say it's not legal in sets. They could just say this is only Commander legal or not legal anywhere. It's just a funsy card. Like, this is just not a tournament legal card. They could even put that in the Commander. They could just add it to the Commander banned list. I mean, you could still play it in your play group if they agreed to it, but it's like a soft Commander ban that, you know, these aren't official cards that you can play in Commander. They're just, I don't know, they're there for cosmetic purposes only, or for the fans of The Walking Dead. Kenobi made that point. That's a promise I wish they would break. I might try to threaten a lawsuit for breaking their promise. Well, yeah, well, you have to prove that you came at a loss of something. You can sue for anything, but well, no, you can't sue for anything. You have to before you sue, you have to make a point that you're gonna like you have you have lost something. Actually, I don't remember the correct order. Whatever. Moving on. Down with the reserve list. Power 9 for the proletariat. Yeah. Someone pointed out for them to work, you need to add Walker to the rules. Someone pointed out for them to work, you need to add Walker. Oh, because you make walkers, you don't make zombies anymore. That's true. Like, I got a bit confused. Like, I'm not a Walking Dead person. So when I read the cards and like put 2 walkers on the battlefield, what the hell is this? Oh, the zombies. Of course, the zombies. I'm not a Walking Dead person. Well, there's like one zombie movie I watched and I liked. I think it was the reboot of the one where they're trapped in a mall. Dawn of the Dead or something like that. Aside from that, I don't really care for zombie movies. Not a big deal to me. Walking reads awesome. Any Walking Dead fans in the audience? Like, how do you feel about this? Are you hyped for it? Like, it's like there's a lot of... I have not heard anything positive about this. I have no idea how much crossover there is from The Walking Dead and normal people. Yes, they specifically mentioned the Commander players should be looking forward to playing them on tabletop MTG. Kind of sad. I know. Well, I mean, they obviously made it. They obviously made it for Commander. They made them to be played somewhere. Nigan is very hard to do in paper too. How do you secretly pick a card when there's multiple copies of it in play? Well, no, you just write it on a piece of paper. You just say specifically. I mean, if there's multiple copies of the exact same creature in play, like then what would it matter? You just take a random one. If you have like 10 zombie tokens, it doesn't really matter to your opponent which one you take, unless one had damage on it, one didn't. Then you can specify that on the piece of paper. Rugged MTG says, I think Negan is one of the best well-done villain. Yu-Gi-Oh has card called Magical Hats. Same mechanics. Magical Hats. I'm not familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh at all. Fun fact, Negan is also a dick fighter in Tekken 7. Only time I cared about The Walking Dead. Night of the Living Dead is old, but a must watch. I have no idea. Are they foil only? I have no idea. They might not be foil at all. If it gets big in a format, they will also have to do Secret Lair in Magic the Gathering Online. Well, no, it wouldn't work like that. They would just put them in treasure chests. Like that's the easy way for Magic Online to just release any card on Magic Online. They just throw them in the treasure chests, and as they get opened, they get released to the public. So it doesn't actually need a set release, and that's just basically how they get all the promos online. Hold on, does DIC mean downloadable in-game character or something like that? Did I call him a dick for no reason? There's plenty of Commander precon cards that secretly choose a card. Is Pioneer still dead? Not dead, but like when they made the bannings, it like helped the format a little bit, but it definitely receded back. They're not in good shape. Poor Pioneer. I play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And nobody plays Magical Hats. This does not help me understand the point of Magical Hats. These cards essentially go on the reserve list. They're not officially on the reserved list, but they basically said, this is it. 1 week of printing them, and that's it. They're gone. So they are pseudo-reserve list cards. If they are foil only... Okay, so hold on. There's actually a very big important thing about this, or I don't know if it matters that much. But the reserve list also mentioned that they're not going to functionally reprint cards. So they're not going to make Underground Sea with even better stats on it. Although, like, they have sometimes made better cards than the reserve list. They have on multiple occasions made better cards than what's on the reserve list. But the point is that they're not supposed to make like a super Underground Sea, for example. I don't like same thing with Underground Sea, but he also gives you the option to add colorless. So it's a different card, but you know what? Technically it's better. Whereas these cards, these promos they could reprint the exact functional card. And Mark Rosewater said that if these cards are really popular and see a lot of play, then we'll reprint the exact same card, but with a different name and different art. So that would be the difference between actual reserve list cards and these promos. I miss the full background. I don't prefer the black bottom border. I have no idea what this is in reference to. Yeah, Pioneer, I think, will have a huge boost. I mean, they might have a really big Pioneer event being prepared for the end of the year, and it'll give a huge boost to Pioneer. Let's get real. AMC shows some cards. Where are my Mad Men MTG tie-in? Where's my Breaking Bad blue meth artifact? Actually, you know what? Someone made mention that I kind of Hasbro bought some company that owned The Walking Dead, and that's why we have this crossover. It wasn't a coincidence. I don't know the validity of this, but someone mentioned on Twitter that Hasbro, I think it was Hasbro, not Wizards of the Coast, purchased some company that owned The Walking Dead, and that is why we see this crossover. It wasn't actually a negotiation between one company and another company. That's basically Hasbro owned the intellectual property now, and they can do whatever the hell they want. So we might see even more Walking Dead stuff. There is a greater chance we will see more Walking Dead stuff in the future than from like other TV shows and movies and other intellectual property. Historic or Pioneer as a format, which is better? I would say Pioneer. Historic is fine, but I think it's close. They both are sort of in the same boat, though. Do you think Blue Black Rogue is possible for Pioneer? No, I don't think so. I don't know. You have to show me a list, but as it is, I don't think there's enough rogues for it. Okay. Anyway, I gotta go. I've got a test. This is gonna be a shorter. It's gonna be shorter on Thursdays because I'm gonna be having these tests regularly on Thursday. So thank you very much, everyone, for showing up today. Who do we have to raid today? We have all sorts of people. Do we not? Is Willie Hall here? No, he's not online right now. Well, I'll need the luck because I'm just going to need it. All right, so who's playing? I'm sure Aspiring Spike is playing Modern, so I'm going to throw you all at Aspiring Spike. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. Great conversation, great coffee, and I'll see you in the next cup. Take care. See you next time.